When Zero left his family home, his elders reminded him of the rules he was expected to follow. He never thought those rules to be the last thing he'd hear from them while still alive. Hi, my name is Noah Adachi. I'm a story writer and an artist who explores complex themes of trauma, religion, and queer identity in dark fantasy and romance settings. I have over 600 characters across multiple stories, and it's about time I finally share these. I have art from years ago versus art that's really recent. The small snippet I gave in the beginning is about Zero. Zero is the main character of my story 10 Levels. I always wanted to tell his story, but I struggled with the fact that my stories are so lore heavy, I feel that there's a lot of context that people are missing out on. You get the gist of it right in the very beginning, the fact that we have our main character Zero, and he ends up falling into hell. And I mean he genuinely falls into hell. There's supposed to be a gate that he comes through, and he doesn't. Zero is insistent that this was a problem. While the demon Charon who guards the boat knows that souls will often claim this is honestly the first time that he believed it himself. So thus Charon agreed to help Zero traverse the 10 levels to hold an audience with the king. Before telling Zero's story though, I want to dive into the deep, rich lore of the realm that he's found himself. In the beginning, the angels lived in the heavens, but the angel Lucifer challenged the hierarchy and was punished for it. Lucifer and his followers were cast out, beyond the heavens, beyond the earths, to the place that we call hell. So now let's try and break down what this means. What exactly is the angel hierarchy, and why did Lucifer fight against it? In my story, I have a lot of lore and a lot of rules for how things work. One such rule is the hierarchy in the heavens. They work like a little company. At the top, you have the CEO. This angel is in charge of everything, the angel of all. Some call this angel God. Under the angel of all, you start to break up into categories. There are 4 main categories with a 5th kind of bonus. Our first category is going to be nature angels. Beside the nature angels, we have our creation angels. Then, we're going to move to our service angels. And last but not least, the information angels. I kind of misread how much space I needed on my page to write that. These roles are in equal setting to each other. However, they can be broken down into further, smaller categories. For example, a nature angel might be an angel of animals, which can be further defined as an angel of mammals, or an even smaller role, an angel of cows. Roles break down indefinitely like this. Basically, the more specific role that you have, the lesser the angel you are. Hence why the angel of all is the one at the top of the hierarchy. The angel hierarchy plays an important part in Hell's history, but I also have several angel OCs in other stories of mine. These 2 characters are Zoraphel and Astriel. They're a great example of how the hierarchy works. Astriel is the angel of the light that reflects off of the dust on the university campus library. It's quite a mouthful, and compared to Zoraphel, who is the angel of bugs, it's a very specific title. Thus that means that Astriel is lower on the hierarchy than Zoraphel is, despite the fact they're both nature angels. Giving these 2 breakdowns, we can go back to our original concept. Understanding how these roles work creates the shape that is the angel hierarchy. These roles break down forever and ever. You can get as specific as you need. This is important because angels can be promoted or demoted up the ladder and down. However, it's worth noting that demotions are more common. Grabbing my notebook again, it's time for another example. I'm going to go ahead and flip to one of the main characters to my story, Saint Ivos. This is Father Jophiel. He works as a pastor in his local church and doubles as the caretaker to the orphans that are placed within St. Ivos. He struggles a lot with his religion, especially due to the fact that he's actually a half-angel. Half-angels are not considered angels in the hierarchy, and thus do not have roles. However, his half-brother Metra is a full angel and does have a role. It's important mentioning this because of how angel hierarchy works in their society. Angel roles are inherited through the parents. So thus, parent 1 and parent 2 will have their child, and the child will take the role of the lesser angel. Angels do not need to stick within their roles, but it makes it easier on the kids. In my example, the angel of art has a child with the angel of pencils, so thus the child is an angel of pencils. Keeping in mind how children inherit the parent angel's role, we're going to take a look at Metra and Jophiel's father. He was an information angel, specifically the angel of numbers. Now remember, broad term means high role. However, in angel society, rules are very important. The fact that their father had an affair with a human nonetheless stripped him of his role. Jophiel obviously didn't inherit anything, being a half angel. But Metra had to inherit the new lesser role that his father had gotten. And so now, both Metra and his father are angels of the number of people born in Wyoming. So now you understand how angels move up and down that ladder. But it's important to note that angels cannot move between those 4 categories. The only exception is that extra 5th category I mentioned in the beginning. This would be angels of destruction. Angels of destruction are special in the fact that they're technically dual category angels. What this means is that they are both one of the main 4 and destruction. For example, the destruction nature angel might be an angel of tornadoes. Another form of destruction angel are angels of death. However, it's very important to note that the angels themselves do not play a role in death. Angels of death are more for grief reasons or watching over souls in the heavens. Death itself is overseen by a completely different being. These beings are known as the Reapers. The Reapers exist in a separate category away from heaven and hell. That'll need to be a video on its own. And trust me, if you're interested, I have a lot of characters and information that I can touch on regarding those little guys. All of this starts to beg the question, what does any of this have to do with why Lucifer fell from heaven in the first place? Seeing how the hierarchy plays such an important role in the day-to-day life of the angels, it's worth knowing what Lucifer's role was to begin with. Now, my story is a work of fiction, but it goes without saying that it's obviously influenced by the Bible. So keeping that in mind, I go ahead and look at Ezekiel, where we hear a lot of descriptions of Lucifer. Ezekiel 14 specifically says, "You were an anointed guardian cherub." I decide to take this line and put it in my story. So thus, that means that Lucifer is considered a service angel, and more specifically, he would have been a guardian angel. I have several guardian angel OCs because they hold such valuable roles. I'm going to be referencing one of my other stories to show an example of another guardian angel. This story, Jack and Jill, also exists within World State A. They're a special type of being in my story called Holy Hunters. These 2 girls, Jack and Jill, have a guardian angel named Methuselah. Now, Methuselah actually isn't all that great of a guardian angel. But being bad at your job isn't enough to cause you to lose it. And thankfully, I have Oliver and Enid, 2 messenger angels who assist Methuselah in this story, even if Oliver himself might not be the best choice either. Leaving the topics of Jack and Jill behind, we're going to come back to Lucifer. Understanding that he was a guardian angel, we have to remember that means he couldn't help out or do anything in the other 3 branches of angel types. They remained separate from him, even though he was a good angel. Lucifer did his job well. Lucifer was described as being almost perfect in the Bible. Proud and beautiful, his major flaw was the fact that his wisdom was clouded by his desire for more. He started to think about what it'd be like to do more than just the role he was assigned. This sentiment was not uniquely felt. Leaning back into some of the angels you've met now, for example, we're going to look at Metra. Metra had a friend named Tapua. Tapua was a creation angel of music. Metra always wanted to be like her, but because she was in a different branch, he would never be able to, no matter how high he climbed up the ladder. Lucifer challenged this, and he spoke to other angels like Metra who felt the same way as him. It's said that 1/3 of the heavens had followed Lucifer into his path of rebellion. Lucifer was loud, outspoken, and aggressive about the desire for change. This desire led the others that followed him into war. Lucifer and his followers decided to fight back against these rigid hierarchies that they were forced to follow. But he only had 1/3 of heaven for support. The other 2/3 were in honor of this system, and they chose to fight against him. They believed in the truth of their order, and they did not want it to change. And most importantly, the angel of all was angered by this. He felt like Lucifer was trying to become like him. Lucifer had no chance in this war, and he failed. As explained in my comic page, Lucifer and all of his followers were cast out of heaven as punishment for this. They weren't just sent out of the heavens though, they were sent past the earth, into the place where God put all of his disgusted creations. Anything he didn't want on the earth he threw in the trash pit that we call hell. This place was for all things he despised. And by putting Lucifer and his followers down there, he demoted them to a rank so low no other angel had done it before. He took the title of angel away from them. This is going to be where I stop for today, because this brings us up to where we're at in page 1. If you like my story or you have any questions, please go ahead and ask. I'd love to make another video explaining more for you guys if there's anything of interest in particular. If you liked my story, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time for page 2.